You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
feeling fresh as hell.
Well, you guys better enjoy it. The fans loved it.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin Herbert.
On the move and throws and touchdown.
Do this together. Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Well, good morning, folks. Oh, welcome back to the Charger Chat. Oh, this is so weird. We're doing it in the morning. The sun's coming through, and we had to get our respective drink of choice.
Good morning. Guten Morgen.
Let's welcome back to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my buddy, Kev Huggin Duggan.
Rise and shine, motherfuckers. Let's do this.
Let's not forget Kyle the Coach Duggan.
That's so aggressive.
I know.
In the morning.
Hey, we're coming in hot. I know there's no football this weekend, but I'm coming in hot.
Kevin forgot what time we were recording this morning, and then he comes in dropping F-bombs.
Dude, I've been running. I came home from dropping the kids off at school. I'm like hustling down here. I'm jacked.
And then I do want to point out my mug is made by my son. It's the green screen makes it look weird, but it's like blue and yellow because those are my favorite colors.
Yes.
But on it, it's like you go to one of those like clay and latte places where you like paint the mug and they like coat it for you. He picked out a mug. He painted blue and yellow that says "Grumpy Old Man" for me for Father's Day.
He knows you so well.
He's 3 years old.
I'm gonna get you one that says "Grumpy Little Brother." Is what I'm gonna get you.
You can find one that says "Frosted Mini Wheats."
Ooh, folks.
I'm getting
starting off
desensitized.
feisty.
I really am. I'm getting desensitized.
It's gonna start to wear off.
It will sting again. Let's see, folks. It's our first Friday episode in quite a while, and that's because we have lots to talk about. Obviously, we dropped our episode right before the 53-man roster was announced, and so we've got to get all up into that. We've also got a bolt beat lined up for you, but let's start off at the top. Last week, you could hear the fear in Kevin's voice when
I realized I hadn't heard about it.
When Kevin didn't know if All In was actually going to happen this year. It was in a Ask Bolt Fam. I think it was OM Run that was like, hey, is All In happening? And we scoured the internet trying to find some semblance of like, oh yeah, here's the schedule.
But we also didn't ever find a no.
That's right. Like it was still like question marks, like, wait, they can't not do this, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, yesterday, they dropped the All In teaser for season 3. Oh boy.
Hey, all I have to say is we're a good ass team, boys.
We are a good ass team, baby.
According to Coach Staley, we're a good ass team.
And Staley, when he said, I think about it every single day, I was like, oh, that's my coach right there. No,
it was
because remember
wild.
When you flip the script to the year before that was when we lost to the Raiders in week 18.
Mm-hmm.
And it was win and you're in or lose and you're out. And they all tried to play it off like, I just moved on. That's not the same team. We're different. That's not the case for this last year. That Jaguars loss was defeating.
No, that was extremely painful. And obviously he still thinks about it every day. So he's not necessarily over it. And so using that as fuel for this season is going to be possibly a difference maker. But All In is coming back September 7th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, folks.
Oh my God.
It looks wild. Seeing Kellen Moore in the interview chair.
Just smiling like
just like I'm like, I know that guy. And Brandon Staley, I'm gonna say it, looks like a hitman. He looks like somebody that's about ready to like take somebody out. He's got the slick back hair, he's got the like salt and pepper stubble, like he's about ready to like break somebody's wrist just to like get this thing going. So
it's such a good trailer. And the last shot where it's just Justin just slowly turning. I was just like
giving you that side eye. Yeah.
I can't wait for this thing to come out. And I can't believe the season's this close.
They're so good at it. It's such a really good show.
So the first episode is the September 7th at 10 a.m. September 7th. That's 2 days before the game. Was that Friday?
I think it's next Thursday.
The 10th is the game. So
it's
3 days.
So next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Yeah.
Super exciting to see. All right, folks. The 53-man roster dropped. We found out who was on the team. There were some surprises as far as who actually was on the roster, not the practice squad, the roster. Names that I hadn't even heard of yet, because like we signed them in the offseason. And because I asked Kyle, I was like, wait a minute, who is Nick Williams? Who's he? Like, we didn't see him play at all in the preseason. Who is this guy? And apparently we signed him in the offseason. Didn't play him because he's a veteran, been in the league for a long time. There was no reason to go out there and possibly risk an injury. So we'll get to like what the 53-man roster was, but one of the other surprises that dropped, and it was teased by Aaron Wilson. He tweeted out, Elijah Dotson has made the Chargers' initial 53-man roster per a league source.
See, no one thought that was coming. I had like we talked about it last episode. I was like, I had a feeling he might be one of the players just with how he performed and the way that coach wants to run the ball this year. It feels like I was like, we might carry 4 RBs, and we absolutely are.
I don't know. I don't think he had a good first game. He had 2 really good runs. You know, like, and he is a physical runner. Yeah. But in that second game, he collapsed with drop balls and like in big time pressure situations. We were trying to drive down and win, and he was just blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I don't know if he did enough. Like, he had a great first game, but they must have seen something. And
special teams, it is got to be special teams for him. That's the big reason.
Guess. But like, if you're gonna do a special teams guy, you a linebacker, or when we decided to go pick up and do those additional roster moves, this is jumping in ahead a little bit, but instead of letting Xander go, who is a core special team guy, plays every single special teams, you waive him and you still kept Elijah Dotson. So they're super high on this guy.
That's true.
He's running.
He's the next Austin Eckler in their eyes. Like, next year we're gonna be gone. We didn't give him his extension. He's already pretty much verbalized that. So this is that, hey, we don't have to waste a draft pick. We just may have found some gold here.
Dotson. We got Dotson here.
We got Dotson here. So, yeah, Elijah Dotson makes the roster. And for those that don't know, the whole process of coming up with the 53-man roster, you got to let guys go. And if it's meant to be, he'll come back.
It's like breaking up with a girlfriend, and then she's like, you know what?
Yeah, that's true love,
together.
baby. That's
like,
how it
works. We're going off to college. Let's see how this goes. If it works out, it works out. That's what the waiver wire is.
Got to let them fly out of the nest, see if it works. So
2-day breakup.
That's what happened with Max Duggan. Initially, there was some heartbreak. There was some concern. You let Max Duggan go.
There was a lot of anger of like, we wasted a 7th round pick too as soon as they waived him.
I can't get behind that argument, but
I'm not for that at all.
No. And so letting Max Duggan go, which also set the message of like, okay, 2 QBs on this roster. We're not carrying 3 on the 53.
Everybody's been wanting that. I listened to the Hayrie and Matt Money Smith, and Matt Money was just like, I've wanted this forever. You don't need 3 quarterbacks. And he went off. He kind of went off on Chase on that last episode. I don't know if you haven't heard it. Go listen to it.
I haven't, no.
He kind of went off on the ridiculousness of that and how he was just in there to be a coach. Pretty much everything we said a couple weeks ago was like validated by Matt Money Smith. So, I'm glad we have 2, and we were able to sneak our namesake onto the practice squad.
Right.
Because that's truly, if you think about it, that's where we belong, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We belong. Yeah. We are practice squatters for sure.
We are for sure. I'm not practice squad. Yeah. I'm not kidding myself. I'm definitely a practice squad player.
But we are practice All-Americans. I will also add that.
Oh, we'll have a career of being on the practice squad. We'll be a 10-year practice squad guy.
Yeah.
A couple Chase Daniels up here.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't even know if you're allowed to do 10 years on the practice squad.
So, yes, we let Max Duggan go, came back. He's on the Chargers practice squad. Then Daniel Popper tweeted out, Chargers waived fullback Xander Horvath to make room on the 53-man for waiver claim, linebacker Tanner Muse. So initially, the roster comes out. We see Xander's on there. Let's go. We love our Xander Horvath. And then he gets let go because we had to. Later. Right, because we wanted this guy so bad that we were willing to have him on the active roster, not just the practice squad, the active roster. Linebacker Tanner Muse, he was drafted pick 100 of round 3 in the 2020 draft class by the Raiders, scored a 9.96 RAS. out of a possible 10. This ranked 4 out of 733. I don't know what SS
Strong
is.
safeties.
Strong safeties from the 1987 to 2020.
Whoa.
He's an athletic freak.
Yeah. In 23 years, he has the 4th highest overall athletic score rating. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude. His 40 time is a 4.4. He's a 4.41 guy. So
and he's
everything
6'2", 230.
He's a monster. They drafted him. It sounds like the Raiders drafted him to play linebacker, and he didn't quite make their squad. Got let go after a year. So now he's just like a professional special teams guy. Like he's a core special teams player that they saw this and they went, Horvath isn't as good as this. And that's what Horvath is going to be doing. And they kept Dotson. So that's the extra carries. So if you kind of sat back and look at it, the more you would have seen the Dotson keep, it was kind of like Horvath is like hanging out there dangling. It just kind of sucks. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, that's the bummer is that we make it's personal for us, and we know Xander Horvath. I have no clue who Tanner Muse is. Never heard of him.
No,
like his 40 time,
he was drafted. Yeah. I mean, you look at his athleticism. Yeah, it's sick. I'm excited now, but it's just like you're like, wait, we're giving up a special teams guy for a special teams guy. Feels a little bit nitpicky. You're also no longer have that fullback. The kind of it replaces some of our lack of tight end blocking was what it was felt like it was covering up.
Right.
So that's definitely a bummer. But Coach Staley explained it yesterday at his press conference that Coach Ficken was like, this is pretty much like, I want this guy. Go get him.
Yeah.
Give me.
I mean, if your special teams can be, we forget how 2 years ago our special teams destroyed our whole season.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember every time we play the Patriots, we just get bad babied around the field on special teams. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, like I'm okay with us investing a little bit here. This is a flip flop of Xander, who is going to see 5 plays on offense. Maybe, I no longer have that, but you have what should be a stud on special teams. This guy's like built to be a special teams player.
Oh yeah. He's a freak.
It'll be exciting to see because I think we got him from Pittsburgh of all places. He's bounced around.
He was waived by Pittsburgh.
Staley had this to say about Tanner Muse. He's a core special teams player in all 4 phases. He's a guy that has got really good speed. I did a lot of work on him coming out of Clemson. Our special teams coaches Ryan Ficken and Chris Gould were really high on him, as well as our pro scouting department. Those 2 sites came together, and we felt like he'd be a good fit to really help us on special teams.
Well, look at that. I jumped the gun on the quote from Coach Staley.
But you have a good memory. Kev. You're paying attention to the press conferences. That's what we just learned here. This is great news.
I am a real fan of the Chargers. I'm not faking it.
You're not phoning this in. He's real, guys.
This is no joke, folks. This is the real deal. And then let's see. Tom Pelissaro tweeted out, veteran wide receiver Alex Erickson is signing with the Chargers practice squad. He was a preseason standout with the Jets. So another wide receiver, one that, I obviously didn't watch any Jets preseason games, so I kind of have to take their word for it.
Well, he's been jumping around. He was drafted he went undrafted in 2016, and he played at Wisconsin. He played for the Texans, Panthers, and Commanders. So he's been jumping around, but he's like, we haven't had like a little speedy, it's kind of like a bandy thing. It's like a little speedy white guy but he's got experience. So, a guy that has been in the league that long, landing on your practice squad, like that's great to have that kind of veteran presence on a practice squad.
A lot of emphasis on speed.
I want to say that I heard, look, I don't hold a gun to my head and say that I said this.
Do it. Record this, retweet it.
I don't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they said that he led the league in return yards a couple years ago. Kind of an obscure stat that you don't really remember. Now look, Google it while I'm talking, Adam, and tell me if I'm
we're
right.
talking college or on NFL level?
No, I think it was with the Bengals in the NFL. We just lost.
Adam just lost. All right, so this is the brother podcast, Morning with my brother.
I don't think we've ever done something like this.
No.
Feels like we don't know what to do with Adam not here.
No, I think we can. So how's your family?
Family's good. Just bought a minivan. It was.
Oh, that's right. This is what we can talk
day.
about. This is dad stuff right here. So minivan.
Yeah.
All right, he's back. Sorry, we were just about to talk about Kyle's minivan. Let's keep it rolling. Yeah. We ain't stopping.
Let's get back to the Chargers. Yeah.
Yeah, we're riding.
Sorry, Chrome just completely crashed on me. Like
you were trying to do a task for Kyle, and usually when he bosses us around, bad things happen. So that's totally fine.
Yeah, so we'll show you forgiveness. Don't let it happen again.
Don't let it happen again. Moving on.
Let's see. Alex Erickson lead, or let's see, return yards. Let's look at that.
It's not coming up.
Kyle.
I see some stats.
With 4 kickoff returns for 170 yards, first put. Maybe it was for a time. Maybe there was 1 point in the season. Maybe
1 week he did really good.
Yeah. Let's see. 2016 Cincinnati, 810 kick return yards.
That's good
in a season. 810.
That's big time.
That might be a lead. It's bolded here, but I don't know what that means. I'm looking at profootballreference.com. So,
whether he led the league or not, that's a lot of yards. And it's having that backup guy on your practice squad that if something were to happen to Darius Davis, you're not like, oh, well, I guess this guy could go do it. Let's just toss him in there and see. You have another specialist guy that you can feel confident in going and making a big play. So,
sure.
I don't know. I haven't watched him play. I haven't gotten on the highlights yet, but it sounds like getting a returned specialist, again, a special teams guy. That's not a bad usage of a practice squad spot, in my opinion.
No. Yeah. 2016, he had 810 kick return yards, almost 200 punt return yards. And then in 2018, he had over 1,000 kick return yards and 212 punt return yardage. So, guy can definitely return some footballs.
So they got 2 returners to back up Darius Davis. I wonder if they're concerned about his durability a little bit.
Yeah, Coach alluded to that in the preseason. There was remember when he had that kick return for touchdown. I was like, yeah, that's great, but we need to see him get hit a little bit and see if he can hang in there because that's going to be his issue.
Sure, very true.
Let's pray these guys never see the field because Darius is the man.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got here. Daniel Popper also tweeted out Tito Abonia and Jalen Guyton will officially begin the regular season on the reserve PUP, meaning they will both miss at least the first 4 games.
But they can come back and practice after 2. So we'll find out pretty quick if they're. And from what I heard an interview. It sounded like Jalen Guyton has been running a lot, has been working. They're just ramping him up and making sure he's ready to play in the NFL. Your body has to be tip top to do that. So we'll see.
Doesn't it feel like Coach Staley is done giving timetables? He's just giving up on it.
He's like not
after his first year. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Especially last year. That was so bad. He's
like, these guys screwed me. I'm not doing this anymore. I have no timetable. You'll know when I know.
Guess what my timetable is? Go f
That's exactly it. Because we don't have this on this. I looked on the outline. We don't have it on the outline, but maybe we do. I'm scared now. I don't want to jump ahead, but it doesn't look like we do.
Pull the trigger, Kyle. Pull the trigger.
Deion Henley is out with a hamstring right now.
That's right. Yes, we don't have that on.
Coach Staley was asked about it, and he said, "Nope, no timeline. I got nothing for you." And then they asked, "Was the Tanner Muse plays linebacker? Was that like associated? Is that because of Deion?" And he goes, "Nope, no correlation," and just moved on. It was like so straight, matter of fact, to the point. It's the Deion injury does. I mean, that's why you pick up a special teams guy. Mm-hmm. Like he was supposed to be that core guy that played every special teams. It does. Hamstrings don't go away quick. That's a little bit scary.
Young hamstrings do, and he's like 21, maybe. So that's not quite like the Keenan Allen 33-year-old hamstring. I know what mine.
I wasn't projecting if my hamstring got hurt.
No,
I would never recover. I would go to the grave with a bad hamstring.
Permalimp. You know what I mean?
Permalimp. That's a good
episode
commercial.
Yeah.
Seeing Deion Henley, and weird that like when we saw that, like it didn't seem like it was from the game. Like he played in almost every aspect of that game. So I mean, I don't know if he played with a hurt hamstring. And
the way I look at it, he's not supposed to start. He played 3 weeks, take off 3 weeks, come back, reset yourself from all the shit you had to do, kick ass in the preseason. We have our starters. You're on the back of the depth chart for linebackers right now. We're not counting on you. Take your time, get healthy, get back. Don't rush this shit.
Well, and clearly it can't be that big of a deal. Otherwise, they would have put him on the PUP list, right?
Right.
Yeah, it'd
it's
be
not
4 weeks.
Yeah.
No, it's a couple week deal. And dude, he's 22. He's gonna be fine.
Yeah. And then the practice squad roster came out. We got to see names like Brevin Allen, ones that we talked about in the preseason. Zach Bailey as the tackle.
That's the one that everyone was losing their GD minds on, not keeping Braden Hymus and getting rid of Zach Bailey, because Bailey had a great preseason.
Yeah.
So the fact that I think as soon as he came back on, there were so many Charger fans like, oh my God, I can't believe this team. Like, even though we're talking about the back end of your linemen that probably won't play very much.
Like, the squad that's not even on the roster.
The season's over, man. Like, I don't think, like, I can't believe we kept Hymus. And then you got on the practice squad. They're like, okay, I can relax now.
Okay.
But like,
season's still good.
Yeah.
Maybe us as fans don't know everything because the guy cleared waivers of 31 other teams.
This is true.
It's not as if just we didn't want him. 31 other teams said, nah, we're good. And they saw the same film. And so maybe our overreaction to one thing that one reporter said.
Overreaction?
Maybe that wasn't it.
Huh? No way.
I mean, that's the thing about the practice squad is like, and we'll get to it because we signed some guys to our practice squad that weren't on the Chargers.
Right.
Nope.
So these are guys that are coming back that want to come back. They want to be with the Chargers. If any other team made an offer to them, we don't know, but they definitely signed with the Chargers. So Zach Bailey's back. Terrell Bynum, wide receiver. We saw some plays from him in the preseason.
He was a great gunner.
Jared Clark, defensive lineman.
I'm glad
Big
he's
boy.
back. I'm glad he's back because he's kind of like
Kevin had him projected to make the team.
Make the 53. I'm just glad. That shows you how much I know that nobody claimed him and he didn't make the team and he's a practice squad player. But I think another year of development for him, he could be a great asset for us in the future. Once some of these, older players that are more expensive, we need to address that. I think he'll
start dying.
Yeah, we'll need to address. We need to talk about. We need to talk about your future plans.
Retiring you're dead to me, basically.
It's the slow death.
The slowest.
And then we haven't heard this name since last season. Christian Covington.
I love that.
Came back.
He just loves to be in Charger.
They like the culture. Yeah.
I love this guy even more now. The fact that he's like, he could have stayed with that other practice squad most likely, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go home.
I'm gonna come back.
I feel like I want to go home now.
I like
my buddies.
Yeah.
Let's see. Keelan Doss, wide receiver, came back to the practice squad. Saw some good plays from him in the preseason. Max Duggan, obviously, we talked about him already. Andrew Farmer, good to see him come back. He got a sack in one of those first preseason games.
He was pretty good in those preseasons, man. He was splashing all around.
Matt Hankins, quarterback. I don't really recall many plays. Cornerback.
Corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter Campmoyer, we saw him get a touchdown in the preseason. Good to get him back. CJ Okoye, come on.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
I wonder what this guy is going to look like next year at camp. You know what I mean? Like 1 year of learning football,
faster.
You know what I mean? Just the learning of the game, like how dominant he's going to be, just as the physical specimen he is.
And then guard tackle Austin Pleasance, who I think kind of had a rough preseason, but hey,
he did.
We got to have at least a few guards and tackles in there ready to step up if something happens. So that started off as the practice squad this year. I believe more than the previous years, we get like 16 guys now on the practice squad, every team. So I think like in previous years, it was like half that, right? Like 8 guys, maybe at the most.
It was less.
It was definitely less. This feels like we took a huge jump in as far as like how many people we have on the practice squad. So in addition to those guys, those are guys that we all got to see in the preseason. We signed Alex Erickson, which we already talked about, safety Dean Marlowe, and tight end Nick Vanette to the practice squad. So those are guys from other teams. Saw something from them that I guess we enjoyed, we liked, we want more of, and brought them on the practice squad. So very exciting to see. And then the full 53-man roster. 2 quarterbacks, as we already talked about, Justin Herbert, Easton Stick. Love to see it. 4 running backs, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, and Elijah Dotson. That's a lot of running backs.
That's a busy room. Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be like one of the top rushing teams this year. I don't know. There's a feeling I get based on these 4 guys, what we did in the preseason. I just feel like we're going to have a really good year rushing.
I think it's just going to be an explosive offense.
Does this carrying 4 running backs, does that change where you draft Austin Eckler? Is he still a top 5 overall fan?
He's 100% still the guy. I don't know about drafting the other 3 because I don't know who's going to be playing.
And we're talking
who's
fantasy,
2?
Right?
Fantasy.
Yeah.
And stop cherry picking. We have our fantasy draft tomorrow. I'm not giving you my insights. Stop asking these questions.
You have a 0% chance of Austin Eckler being on the board where you pick my guy.
I know.
0. You where you're at, you're going to be like, you're going to be drafting Keelan Doss off the practice squad.
You're number 10.
Best draft.
So you're relying on 8 other Charger fans to not draft Austin Eckler, as well as Kyle and myself.
Yeah.
So,
and Adam's right before you too.
Exactly.
So
if Austin Eckler falls to me,
less,
it's done. I'm
I
sorry.
might just pick up Kelly Spiller and Dotson and just roll some dice every Sunday morning. Who's big winner? Who's winning me the game this week?
Honestly, we can't win any of the prizes in the fantasy league. I might just draft all the backup guys.
There you go.
Draft Xander in case he comes back.
Oh
Change the team name to the practice squad.
The practice squad, yeah. The replacements.
There you go. Fullback Xander Horvath not with us anymore. Wide receivers, we got all the guys that we expected: Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, and Darius Davis. Tight ends: Gerald Everett, Donald Parham, Trey McKitty, and Stone Smart. So 4 tight ends.
Stone Smart.
Stone makes the team.
Yeah. It was funny. Matt Money was saying that he thinks when you line these up, he thinks that Stone Smart is the number 2 guy in terms of his abilities and what he's shown this preseason. He is right behind Gerald Everett.
That's
so
very possible. Would love to see.
I'm not trying to steal other podcasts and from insights, but Matt Money did say that, and I respect his opinion a lot. So I'm excited to see how he develops this season.
Same. Let's see. On the offensive line: Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson, Corey Lindsley, Jamari Salyer, Trey Pipkins, Will Clapp, Jordan McFadden, Brendan Hymus, and Foster Sorrell.
It's like really
basically what we expected.
Solid O-line room, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had an O-line room like that in a long time. God, I don't even remember when.
On the defensive side, the defensive linemen, we got Sebastian Joseph Day, Morgan Fox, Austin Johnson, Scott Matlock, Christopher Hinton, and Nick Williams. So Hinton, we got to see at least a little bit in the preseason, and Nick Williams, like I said, veteran, didn't play much. We
talked about him. He came from the Giants, I believe.
Austin Johnson. Yeah, he played with Austin Johnson last year or 2 years ago.
He's a veteran that came to us.
He's a vet. Yeah.
Yeah, Austin Johnson, we got to see play last year, got injured mid-season.
And Joey Bosa on his last interview said Nick Williams is the funniest guy he's ever been around.
Really?
So, you gotta love it.
Sign me up for some of that.
Give me some mic'd up Nick Williams. Please and thank you.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Edge rushers, we got Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Tuli Palatu, and Chris Rumpf, as to be expected. Linebackers: Eric Kendricks, Kenneth Murray, Deion Henley, Nick Neiman, and Eamon Ogbongbemiga. Great name. Always love to have those guys, especially Ogbongbemiga. It's so fun to say.
Especially when the commentators try and say it during the game.
They
sound like a motorboat.
Safeties, we got Derwin James Jr., Alohi Gilman, JT Woods, Raheem Lane, and AJ Finley. Now, AJ Finley.
Yeah, he kicked Webb out, dude. Webb got the boot for Finley.
Yeah.
Webb didn't end up on the practice squad either. That was just like a hard and fast. We're done with that project.
We tried it out for 2 years and that was it.
We gave it a go. Didn't work out. So AJ Finley is our undrafted free agent signing that made it to the active roster. So
we have 2, Dotson and Finley, right?
Dotson and Finley, yep.
Let's go.
Very exciting.
Charge your way.
Cornerbacks: J.C. Jackson, Michael Davis, Asante Samuel Jr., Jasir Taylor, and now I just want to say this. When he got drafted, they said his name was Deion Leonard. I've heard announcers say Dean. And then if you listen to the mic'd up, I think it was Jasir Taylor's mic'd up. He called him Deanie. So
let's call him.
I don't know what the hell his name is.
Let's go Deanie.
That's inside source. Yeah.
Let's go with the guy that hangs out with them all the time.
Let's go with Deanie Leonard.
Love it.
On special teams, as to be expected, J.K. Scott, Josh Harris, long snapper, and the kicker, Cameron Dicker.
Let's go, man.
Oh, by the way, did we touch on the details of that trade for Hopkins that we came up on money?
I didn't see that part.
No, but it was in we didn't talk about it in the last episode, but in the text with each other.
Yeah, it freed up. We now have like $2 million in cap space.
We got rid of Dustin Hopkins' contract. Basically, that's now That's now
took a little
Cleveland's
like
problem.
$800K in dead cap, but we've opened up a good little chunk.
Browns, you suckers. Making us
Dude,
better.
he's a good kicker.
No,
He's
I
a
know.
good
I
kicker.
know. It's just what a great situation for us.
It did
Yeah,
open
but
up some
if
money
you didn't
for us.
have Cameron Dicker and you didn't have Dustin Hopkins and you were going into the season with Badgley still on your squad, you make that deal. Like you took a little bit of money off, but now you have a stud kicker.
Right. And then Staley had this to say about the 53-man roster. I think we've teamed up in a good way and really have gotten better every single season. Going into every year, that's what you want to say, is that you're a better team than you were last year and that you're building something along the way that's growing. And I think that's what's happening here. Do you guys feel the same way? Do you feel like this is going to be a better team than last year?
Stay a little bit healthy and have to, yeah.
The depth is crazy. I went and searched, like, looking to put this outline together, like final 53-man roster Chargers. And if you look at last year's, there's some guys that started the season on there that weren't on the team halfway through the season. Like, I think the turnover, what they've done with this roster, I'm beyond excited for the depth, and I'm just really ready to go with these guys.
Yeah. No, I'm extremely excited for this team. I'd have to agree with Staley. This feels, based off of what we've seen in the preseason, that we've got a really solid group of guys here that can really do some damage. And September 10th can't get here quick enough, man.
Seriously. We'll be on a plane September 9th and flying to Kyle.
Yes. And eating some hot sauce. But
shit. I'm so stressed.
Well, folks, don't forget, you can go on over to our regular website, chargerchat.com. Check out all the cool stuff we got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, and stickers. You can chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers in the member section and ask questions and ask both fam. So go check out chargerchat.com. And if you feeling frisky, you can go on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/chargerchat. Check out all the cool stuff we got over there. Funny videos galore. And a lot of fun times that we're having over there at patreon.com/chargerchat. If you ever thought, why the heck is my wireless bill so dang high? Then let me tell you about Mint Mobile, who we're partnering with for today's episode. You might already know Mint Mobile if you've seen those funny ads from Ryan Reynolds, who's also an owner, but let me quickly tell you about how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out all the retail stores and the salespeople and things like that. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? It's a good question. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code if you're interested in the best value in wireless. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Now, I've used Mint Mobile, and I gotta say, everything that they've talked about as far as switching over being extremely easy is 100% true. It was a super easy process, and then once I was switched over, I honestly didn't notice a difference in my performance. You know, all the apps that I typically use to like Twitter and YouTube and things like that ran exactly the same as they normally did on my previous carrier. Like I said, switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their digital eSIM cards, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your own home. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, that's totally fine. Mint Mobile will ship you a new SIM card for free. It only takes about 15 minutes to switch, and Mint Mobile has great customer service if you need help. And right now, as a special limited time offer, you can get their unlimited plan, which is normally $30 a month, for just $15 a month. That's a 50% savings off their already super low price. It only takes 15 minutes to pay as low as $15 a month for your phone plan. It really is that simple. Use our link mintmobile.com/chargerchat to get started, or click the link down in the description or scan our QR code. It really helps out the channel. And if you've already made the switch to Mint Mobile, let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear about your experience with them. Thank you, Mint Mobile, for being our partner for this episode. Now back to the show. All right, folks. Now that we've got Friday episodes, we can kind of spread things out a little. We can move our arms,
settle in a little bit,
swing them around the room, because there's so much room now for activities. And that includes this next segment. It's our good friend Jason Reed over at the Bolt Beat.
But
Welcome back to another edition of the Bolt Beat. As always, I am your host, the acting editor over at boltbeat.com, Jason Reed. You can check us out at boltbeat.com. Follow us on Twitter at BB_Chargers. Or if you want any of my bad takes about Chargers football or anything else sports or movies related, you can follow me at Eat Your Reedies. We've made it. This is a recurring trend for all these segments I do here at the Charger Chat podcast, just celebrating the different landmarks we have made as Charger fans, as football fans, as we get ready for the football season. Look, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I love summer. I'm a summer guy. I get a little sad in the fall, in the winter, in football. Charger football specifically is always there to cheer me up. The preseason's over. The roster cuts are over. We're down to 53 players. And the next thing we know, we will see the Chargers in action week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. And just remember, we need to cherish this because before we know it, it's going to be week 17. We're going to be looking at the playoffs. Before you know it, it's going to be the Super Bowl, hopefully with the Chargers playing in it this year. And the Super Bowl will be over and we'll be all sad because we'll have 7 months without football. That'll feel better if the Chargers win it all this year. So hopefully they could do that. I think the thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of going back to another thing I said recently on the podcast a few appearances ago, talking about training camp, talking about how we react to these training camp news, the expectations we should have for players and coaches and whatnot in training camp, and not overreacting from practices. And I think the Chargers roster cuts that they made to the 53-man roster this year kind of vindicated that a little bit, kind of put that into perspective. Number one, first and foremost, John Hightower not making the roster. If you told us that a month ago, we all would have been shocked. If you told us that 4 days ago, it might not have been as big of a surprise. Hightower's injury really slowed him down. He didn't do much in the preseason, and he didn't even look like he was the wide receiver 6 anymore. It looked like that was going to go to, wide receiver 6 when Jalen Guyton's not healthy. It looked like that was going to go to Keelan Doss because of his special teams value and what he does in that side of the football. The Chargers end up going with 5 receivers, and the way they're handling that is actually genius. They're going to have Doss as a elevated player, I believe, however many weeks. They could do it up to 3 times until they have to make him an active part of the roster. So I think they'll use him wherever they think they need him in the first 4 weeks of the season while Jalen Guyton is out because he's on the physically unable to perform list by week 5. And you can go into the bye week. You get an extra time for Jalen Guyton to recover. If Guyton is ready, boom, you keep Doss in the practice squad. If someone gets hurt, then you bring him up then. If Guyton's not ready, you don't think he's going to be back this season, maybe you put him on the IR, you bring Doss up, you handle it then. It was the best of both worlds. Going back to the Hightower point, he looked like a shoo-in to make the roster in the first few weeks of training camp. He was great, and obviously he didn't make the roster. So it's just another reminder, what we saw in the preseason, what we saw in the training camp isn't exactly what we're going to see out of the Chargers in 2023, and that's a reminder that what we see in week 1 isn't what we're going to see. What we see in week 2 isn't what we're going to see the whole season. Every week's different, and I always like to think of the NFL season in quarters. First 4 weeks, 4-4-4. Well, now it's 4-4-4-5, I guess, because the NFL had to screw up the even numbering of this. But it's going to be different. And I think we learned that last year with this Chargers team. There were stretches where this football team looked really good early on. Then there were stretches when it looked really bad. There was a lot of skies falling fans. I would be lying if I said I didn't think the sky was falling at some point. I'd be lying if I didn't think that the Chargers were going to get smoked by the Dolphins on primetime last year. That doubt starts creeping in because 1 or 2 bad performances, it's hard. Being a fan is hard, okay? We all deserve a pat on the back. It's hard. But week to week, everything's going to be different. If the Chargers beat the Dolphins 60-0 week 1, we're going to be celebrating. We're going to be happy. Let's go. But that doesn't mean they're going to go 18-0 or 17-0. Do I wish they would? Yes. Are they talented enough to? I don't know. Maybe. But that doesn't mean that's going to happen. If the Chargers come out and they're a little slow, didn't play the starters in the preseason week 1, whatever the case is, that doesn't mean the season's going to be a failure. So I think it's just important to remember, and the roster cuts are a good reminder that this is a week-by-week thing, a 2-week-by-3-week thing, and the season's going to have its ups and downs. There's only been one team in the history of the league that went undefeated and won the Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl champion the last however many years since the Dolphins team has lost some games and has had moments where it's like, wow, what went wrong there? What happened there? So just a reminder, the sky's not falling if the Chargers are 0-1 to start the year. The sky's not falling if they're 2-2. Obviously, we don't want that to happen, but let's continue to look at the grander picture of things. Now, if they're 2-2 and something happens, injuries or something, that's another story. But we're not even going to say that out loud because why are we going to jinx ourselves? So that's an important thing to remind ourselves as we head into the season. In week 1, we have the Dolphins on the slate. We'll jump into that more with the betting stuff. That's what we did last year. Talked about some bets I like. We'll talk about the spread, the over-under, some player props and whatnot. But this week, since we still have an extra week, I just wanted to touch on 2 future props that you should still try to get your hands on before the season starts, both Chargers related. You could bet on stuff like, comeback of the player of the year is going to be DeMar Hamlin, I think, no matter what. I don't think Quentin Johnston's going to do enough for offensive rookie of the year just because there's rookies who are going to have bigger roles in their offenses. I don't think, Thule's going to win defensive rookie of the year again because he's not going to have a huge role on the defense in his rookie year. So I really think there's only 2, technically 3 awards that could be won by Chargers this year, and that's Coach of the Year, MVP, and then I guess Offensive Player of the Year. If Justin Herbert were to win the MVP, a little foreshadowing there. Coach of the Year, Brandon Staley, 25-1. I know a lot of Charger fans think that might sound crazy. How is Brandon Staley going to win Coach of the Year? Half the fan base seemingly want him fired. Look, if the Chargers come out, they upset the Chiefs, they win the division, they go 13-4, all things that are possible if this team stays healthy with the new offense and with Herbert taking that extra step, he's going to have the narrative behind him. These awards are half based on merit and half based on, the narrative around it. Brandon Staley can go 13-4 and Nick Sirianni could go 13-4, but Staley's the better story because he hasn't been there yet. He elevated them to that level. So that's a name to look out on. If you want to just sprinkle something on it, a little $10, win $250. That never hurt nobody. Always gamble responsibly. The better bet, though, and the lower odds, because it's a better bet, is the MVP, Justin Herbert. He's 9-1 right now. He is the 4th favorite behind Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. He is right up there with Jalen Hurts, who's 12-1. Aaron Rodgers is 16-1, which is a little crazy to me. I don't think that ship has sailed for Aaron Rodgers. It's all there for Herbert. It's the same story with Staley. If the Chargers go 13-4, it's going to be because Justin Herbert had a phenomenal season, which we all know he's capable of. Last year was a down year for him, and it was still elite. It's going to be, the narrative's going to be there, leading the Chargers to the first division win in however many years, leading them to be a Super Bowl caliber team for the first time in however many years. The numbers are going to be gaudy. Like, everything's going to be there for Herbert to win the award. And so he's the 4th favorite, but I like that a lot more than betting someone like Mahomes 6-1, where is Mahomes the best quarterback in the league? Yes. But again, these awards are narrative based. If we just voted on the best player every single year, LeBron James would be a 10-time MVP in the NBA, and Nikola Jokic would have won the MVP this year instead of Joel Embiid. That's not what we do. It's narrative based. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow also have very good narratives. Don't get me wrong. If they can have better stats than Mahomes and they're the AFC 1 seed, they're obviously going to be in the front running. So it's going to be interesting. But the Chargers, there's kind of more juice if the Chargers go 13-4 versus the Bengals have gone 13-4 since they've kind of already been there. So it's kind of a race. The race to whatever team is number 1 in the AFC might just win the MVP award. And I think, there's a decent chance that could be the Chargers. Maybe shouldn't say decent, but there is a chance that could be the Chargers. And at 9-1, I think Herbert's a really good bet for MVP. I would stay away from Defensive Player of the Year, personally. Derwin James, as great as he is, he doesn't rack up the stats. These voters love interceptions. They love sacks. He doesn't rack up those stats. Joey Bosa hasn't been able to stay healthy, play 17 games in a year. I wouldn't vote defensive side of the ball. Justin Herbert MVP, maybe Brandon Staley Coach of the Year. I wouldn't even bet Justin Herbert Offensive Player of the Year because that's usually like the backup MVP sometimes, where like Herbert might win MVP and Justin Jefferson might win Offensive Player of the Year. But those are the 2 bets I would target for Charger fans. And look, we got one more weekend, Labor Day weekend. Everyone be safe, have fun. And next thing we know, we'll be talking about the Chargers and Dolphins before week 1 of the season. I'm so excited. Can't wait for it. Let's get back to the Charger chat, guys.
A lot of good points there, Jason. I mean, yeah, that was a name that we actually didn't even talk about. It was Hightower, the guy that was getting just praise
so
after
hype.
praise in the
practice hype games.
Yeah.
He did not show up anywhere.
Yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt and he never seemed to recover.
And offsides penalties, I was really not a fan of him after those games that I watched with my own eyes. I wasn't at practice and seeing that with my own eyes.
When I watched it with other people's eyes, I was okay.
Most exciting player we've ever had on our team.
When I watched it through tweets, I was hyped.
Jacked. But my own eyes with the televisor.
When it came to game time, not so much.
Not jacked at all.
And yeah, some interesting bets.
Hit that MVP. Herbert for
hit
MVP.
the MVP. Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Like, comment, and subscribe. The Herbert is MVP. That feels good. And I don't know about defensive player not being Joey Bosa, man. I feel like this could be that year that he could come out and really do
It'd be sick.
Everything that we expected him to do since his draft. Like, he's had some great seasons, but knowing now, again, I think I've said it probably 3 episodes in a row now, that he's been dealing with an injury the entire time that he's been in the NFL until just last year that he finally got the surgery to take care of it.
Yeah.
This could be an entirely different Joey Bosa, and it would not surprise me if he ends up being that defensive player of the year.
I know he said Hamlin is a lock, but JC Jackson, dude, like to go from, we're talking, these are different kind of injuries, and I get the storyline is better for Hamlin, but JC Jackson, if he returns to form of what he did,
if he goes back to Pro Bowl form,
that is easy. Because is Hamlin a Pro Bowler? I don't think so. I mean,
if he becomes a Pro Bowler after,
then you can't compete with
his heart stopping on the field. Yeah, that's the comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
sure. But if you're a guy that completely blows out his knee, in a way that most guys don't return.
You sound like you have zero compassion.
Yeah, it's hard stuff. Whatever. I'm talking about JC Jackson.
I'm talking about my guys, not Buffalo
Bills. Dead on the field, but whatever.
I did not say that at all. That's not what I said.
He literally resurrected from the dead, and he's not the comeback player of the year to you.
I guess that's a pretty good comeback.
That's the ultimate comeback.
Yeah.
Plays on Sunday too, of all days.
I see where you're going, but I'm not going to take that.
I'm not taking that.
Isn't his number 3? The father's all right. Anyways,
whatever.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you again for another awesome Bolt beat.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Looking forward to all the bets to see this upcoming season, and I think that's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Any final thoughts there, gentlemen?
I love Friday episodes. I'm like getting my day started right.
No, it's like we still got a whole day ahead of us. So much.
And guess what? We're not going to be that embarrassing podcast where news comes out and we don't talk about it for an entire week now.
No,
don't assume that that's not going to happen.
2 to 3 days at the most, folks. Not a week.
Okay, 2 to 3 days.
We're not fully embarrassing.
The news is still going to drop right after we record.
Right. Still going to be embarrassing, but
though there'll be embarrassment, but it just won't be as embarrassing.
See what you mean?
Yeah. It'll be a little fresher, but that's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Any final thoughts there, gentlemen?
Okay, love you, bye.
So long. Farewell.
Avidas, AK, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.